Let's just dive right in, shall we? Today we are exploring what is basically humanity's ultimate, timeless obsession: cheating death. I mean, throughout history, people haven't just wanted to live a few extra years, right? They've gone to absolutely staggering, sometimes mind-boggling lengths to literally live forever.
So, how exactly do you live forever? Well, to answer that, we actually need to rewind way back to a wild, ancient Egyptian ghost story from the 19th dynasty. The story goes that a priest named Consamhab ran into this wandering, totally terrified soul named Nebusemek. And Nebusemek was in a full-blown panic. His tomb had been destroyed, his physical body was broken, and because of that, he was completely locked out of the afterlife. He was literally a ghost who was terrified of missing out on eternity.
Section 1. Chasing Immortality: Why the Physical Body Matters. You see, mummies were never meant to be these creepy horror movie monsters. A perfectly preserved body was your mandatory ticket to paradise. But to get there, you had to face the Hall of Ma'at. This is where it gets intense. Your actual heart was weighed against the feather of truth. If you lived a good, honest life, your heart would be as light as a feather.
But if your heart was heavy with sin, well, meet Emmet. This beast is part lion, part hippo, and part crocodile, and Emmet would instantly devour a heavy heart. And the crazy thing is, you didn't go to some underworld punishment. You simply ceased to exist entirely. Just game over. Poof. Pass that test, however, and you got to enter the field of reeds. Imagine an immortal agricultural utopia. We're talking endless sunshine, absolutely perfect harvests, and the absolute best part? No backbreaking labor whatsoever. It was the ultimate reward.
Section 2. Embalming Secrets: The Gruesome 70-Day Transformation.
Okay, so how did they actually pull this off? The Greek historian Herodotus recorded this honestly grueling 4-step process. Step 1, embrace yourself. Pull the brain out through the nose. Yikes. Step 2, remove the abdominal organs. Step 3, dry the body out in natron salt for up to 70 days. And finally, step 4, wrap the whole thing tightly in resin-coated linen. Now, those wet organs we just mentioned, they went straight into canopic jars. You had these 4 animal-headed guardians protecting your insides. There's Imseti for the liver, Happy for the lungs, Duamutif guarding the stomach, and Kubesanov protecting the intestines. But here is the absolutely crucial part. The embalmers left the heart inside the chest. Because the Egyptians saw it as the absolute center of human consciousness. It was literally the one organ you desperately needed for that final judgment weighing we talked about. Now, because we're all human and people make mistakes, wealthy Egyptians actually used a pretty clever loophole. It's called the scarab amulet. By placing this magical stone directly over the heart, it acted as an ultimate insurance policy to make sure your own heart wouldn't, accidentally confess your sins to the gods during the trial.
Section 3. Legendary Mummies: Famous Faces from the Sands.
1976. That is the mind-blowing, entirely modern year that a 3,000-year-old dead pharaoh was actually issued an official government passport. Now, seriously.
So, the great pharaoh Ramesses II was discovered to have this fungal infection in 1975, and to legally fly him to France for radiation treatment, the Egyptian government literally had to issue him a valid official passport. They even listed his occupation as King Deceased. You really can't make this stuff up.
Then we have Hatshepsut, who is easily Egypt's most famous female pharaoh. Her mummy was found way back in 1903, but get this, she sat completely unidentified for over a century. It wasn't until modern DNA extraction in 2007 that scientists finally proved her royal identity. Talk about a cold case. But, not all mummies look peaceful. Take Prince Pentaur here, also known as the Screaming Mummy. Because he committed treason, he was forced to take poison, and then he was just carelessly mummified. The result? He was left frozen in this chilling, eternal scream. It is genuinely unsettling.
Section 4. Global Mummies: A Worldwide Obsession.
The thing is, preserving the dead isn't just an Egyptian phenomenon. Actually, even the English word mummy comes from the Persian root word mumiai. That means wax or bitumen, which basically refers to the blackened, kind of sticky appearance of these ancient bodies.
We really see this obsession all over the globe. China has Xinzui, who is a 2,000-year-old wet mummy whose skin is amazingly still soft to the touch. Then you have Japanese monks, known as Soku Shinbutsu, who actually self-mummified through these incredibly grueling diets. And right here in America, a pickpocket named Stoneman Willie was totally accidentally mummified by an experimental embalmer back in 1895.
It gets weirder, too. Ancient texts from China's Ming dynasty even describe something called the mellified man. This bizarre practice involved steeping human bodies in pure honey for decades, literally until they turned into this sweet medicinal confection. Yeah, honey mummies were a real thing.
And speaking of death, over in the Middle Ages, people were absolutely terrified of being buried alive. And honestly, it was a totally valid fear, proven by actual scratch marks found inside all coffins. Because of this, they tied strings from the inside of the casket to a little bell above ground. That way, if you woke up 6 feet under, you could literally ring the bell for help.
From chasing a perfect utopia in the field of reeds to issuing actual passports for dead kings, humanity's drive to preserve the physical self is just staggering. Which leaves us with one final thought for this explainer. If scientists found your preserved body 3,000 years from now, what would your mummy say about how you actually lived?